Hey, Chris Liepe here with 5 habits that might be killing your voice without you knowing it, and what to do about breaking these habits. Simple shifts that you can make so you don't fall prey to them, and in fact, use your awareness of them to catapult your voice into a better place.
Go on and write me up for 125. Post my face, wanted dead or alive. Take my license, all that jive. I can drive 55.
Singing well is a lifestyle activity. It's not about how disciplined you are in your practice or how long you practice or what kind of information you take in. It's about the types of habits that you adopt and how you experience your voice as you're singing. And I help a lot of people experience their voice on a deeper level. If you'd like me to come alongside you and help you experience your voice on a deeper level, the best place to start with me is by clicking the link below and joining my free voice course. And there's other ways that we can get involved together from there. I say this on every video, but it's amazing how many ways that I'm able to help vocalists once they join me for this course. All right, here are your 5 habits that might be killing your voice. Number 1, you're using too much air. And you're using too much air consistently. Now, this one it's not only controversial, but it's very, very sneaky. Because we're told, oh, you got to use enough support. Oh, your voice, your voice is burning out enough, or you're getting hoarse, or you're singing with a lot of tension. Oh, more support, more support. Well, it's not more support that we need. And it's not necessarily more of anything. In fact, a lot of times it can be less, but a balanced support. I've done a lot of videos on this channel talking about the right way to use support. And in my free course that I just talked about, I go through this in detail with another student in the room. But it's not about using more support, because when we have that mindset, we end up burning out our voice. We end up in this sort of one voice mode where we're singing like this, and we're singing loud, and maybe we're not even singing loud, but we're focusing on pushing and engaging, and then our range gets limited, and we're always singing at the same volume, and we're always blowing the same kind of air out our vocals. We're not using enough range fill dynamic speaking. We're not doing all these other things we should be doing because we're focusing on more support, and we're blowing too much air. How many times have you been in a live situation where either you couldn't hear yourself very much, or you were kind of nervous, or you're in a recording situation where you're less than comfortable? The first thing you do is you start sort of shouting, your dynamics go out the window, and then you burn your voice out. Over time, when you make a habit of using too much air, you train your muscle memory in your vocal being to sing kind of in just one way, and then the problem perpetuates itself. So, how do we not fall prey to this ugly habit? We need to make sure that we are using the right kind of and the right amount of support. More on that in my free course or a lot of other videos I've done on this channel. But the quickest takeaway is something I've also talked about before, and that is make sure that you can sing lots of notes in lots of different ways. Quietly, loudly, raspy, purely. What's your tone like? Focus on dynamics. And that, rather than just focusing on support, focus on dynamic delivery. It's going to help you not use too much air and not burn out your voice. Okay, voice killer number 2, not the right kind of vocal rest and overuse. /overuse. We can tend to get into these habits. I know I have of, okay, I got to be disciplined. I got to practice. I got to record. I got to film so many videos. I've got to do some cover songs. I've got this other project I have to do over here. And we get caught up in producing and or practicing with our voice, and we don't give it time to rest and recover. That's kind of the obvious one. But the right kind of rest is really, really key. First of all, you can practice your vocals, your singing, a lot by simply just listening and internalizing and memorizing things and singing quietly and experimenting with different placements and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be this lavish practice session. So you can even rest within your practice sessions. You can also learn to listen to your body when it comes to, well, have I had enough? Stop going for, I need to practice a certain amount of time so that I can accomplish my goals, and start thinking about how your voice feels while you're doing it so that you don't reach this point of diminishing returns. How do you know if you're overusing your voice? Well, apart from taking inventory and all the other ways you use your voice, apart from singing, when you go to sing, is your voice cooperating with the ideas and sensations you want to bestow upon it and experience? Or do you feel like you're sort of in a fight with things that you think you can do or that you should normally be able to do, but that you aren't able to do well at the moment? Don't push it. Listen to your voice. If your voice isn't behaving with a certain thing that you're doing, lean away from that and lean into something else that you do really well with your voice and make that your practicing. Even make that the object of your creativity. I've talked about this in other videos too. But in this context of overuse, we always want to walk this balance of following the path of least resistance and to what our voice is in a good mood for, and healthily pushing our mind and perspective and our voice in a way that helps us grow. But we have to be connected to how things feel. If you are truly connected to how things feel and not sort of greedy for a good sound, you will not overuse your voice and you will rest when you need to rest. All right, killer number 3, reaching for notes. That old habit of playing a note on your guitar or your piano and going, okay, I'm going to hit that note. Okay, I got it. Whatever it is. And then, I hit that note when I was reaching for it there. And then you go to a song and then you're reaching for it in an unhealthy way. And there's all sorts of things that are out of whack because you're not focused on the right things. You're focused on reaching for that note. Your airflow's not right. Support's not right. You're getting your throat involved. What's your vowel formation like, or your vowel modification like? Where are you placing your resonance as you go up to hit that note? Are you in head voice or chest voice? Are you trying to ease into that note? Remember I said all notes, all ways. Are you trapping your perspective into you have to hit this note a certain way? Or are you allowing yourself to experience it in a variety of ways so that you can accomplish an expanded range over time and with resonance variance and all these other things I've talked about? But simply reaching for notes, which is what so many people do, will kill your voice because it leads to these other problems that I've already talked about, these other killers. It's a gateway to using too much air. It's a gateway to overusing your voice and not resting properly because, I got to hit that note. I got to hit that note in this context. No, you don't. You need to take things slowly and mindfully and experientially. So if we're not going to reach for notes, what are we going to do? We are going to make the habit of thinking down on notes. This means when you are trying to expand your range or get up to a particular pitch for a song, you want to hit that note in the lightest, most comfortable, wonderfully honoring to your body way that you can possibly hit it. And then you must experiment with resonance and placement to think down on the note. So I'm going to go a little higher as I'm comfortable. And then I'm going to harness all these things. I'm going to harness proper support, airflow management, resonance transfer, larynx position, vowel formation, tone control. And then I'm going to join it to other areas of my voice. It's not about the note. It's about the whole picture. And by starting in a way that's the most honoring to your body and the sensations surrounding that note, and then easing into it and then connecting it to other comfortable notes, we are doing what real singing should be doing anyway. We're looking at a broader context using a broader set of tools. Don't simply reach for notes. It will kill your voice. All right, next. Number 4, not warming up properly or not warming up enough. Well, you say, how do I warm up properly and how long should I warm up before my voice is ready? Those are great questions, and I have a link to a warm-up video that I did a while ago left in the video description. You can see what my general daily warm-up looks like. It's pretty unconventional. But it's less about what warm-up routine you follow and more about how you learn to experience your voice and listen to your voice as you're warming up. So in answer to the question, how long do I warm up and how do I warm up properly? In answer to those questions, I want to ask some questions for you to help you determine those best for yourself. Are you starting with your head voice, quietly coaxing your voice downward into your chest instead of starting with general chest voice stuff and then pushing higher? This is really going to help you warm up properly. Are you listening to the way your voice feels rather than how it sounds at the beginning, middle, and end of your warm-up? Really keeping in mind what your voice is doing well for the day and what it's not doing well for the day. That's a huge part of warming up. What are you warming up for? What kinds of things do you need to coax out of your voice for what you're about to do? Are you just warming up to practice? That's going to be a very different and probably longer warm-up than if you're warming up for a show or you're warming up for a lengthy recording session. Because our goal for warm-ups is not to get to the point to where we're doing really awesome stuff. It's to prepare our voice and mind for being in the right posture to do the things that we want to do. So the how long should I warm up question, it really depends on where you're going after you warm up. Ideally, we want to warm up until we feel our voice wake up. And just like waking up in the morning, we all wake up a lot better when we are coaxed into waking up rather than a rude alarm awakening, right? We need to coax our voice into existence. Warming up with a routine can be okay, but it must be done mindfully. Simply having a bunch of scale exercises or things that you always do, if you're plowing through those things and you're trying to exercise your range and warm up different parts of your range, that can actually de-warm you up. It can actually make your voice frustrated and just in a bad mood as opposed to coaxing it into doing what you want it to do. So be very, very careful. Again, I've talked more about this in that video that I linked to down below. Now, the last killer is this: not, through moderation, pursuing healthy lifestyle habits. I've said this before, I'm going to say it again. What is good for the body is good for the voice. What is good for the mind is good for the voice. It's not so much about, or it shouldn't be so much about, what you can get away with and still sing well. It should be a lot more like, what can I do to treat my body and mind to the most healthy states and then a great free-sounding voice with a mindfulness of all these other things is going to be ready for me because I have served my body well. I am serving my voice well. So I get lots of questions like, well, will smoking screw up my voice? What about drinking? What about alcohol? What about this food or that food or this drug or that drug? The answer is anything. Too much broccoli, too much juice, too much water, anything will screw up your voice. It is not good for your voice if it is not considered in moderation with everything else that you're doing. A little bit of alcohol it's nice. I think smoking is horrible simply from an airflow perspective because you're drying out your cords quite a bit. there's other ways to relax. Food, all foods. I don't shy away from any foods or any drinks. But the proportions that you consume are going to determine what happens with your body and therefore your voice. So don't say, no, I can't do this at all because of my voice. Learn to practice moderation and listen to your body. And you see a theme here, learning to listen. Don't wait for someone else to define moderation for you. Don't wait for someone else to define a routine for you. Dig in, experience, ask the right questions, feel out. Oh yeah, I guess I did have a little bit too much to eat tonight because I noticed that food was coming up as I was going to bed, subtly, and I'm a little bit hoarse the next morning. Well, so eat less the next day and see if that happens. Or, I did have a little bit too much alcohol. I do feel a little bit hoarse. Or, I was, when I eat this food, my son was practicing for a vocal solo earlier today, and he had milk for lunch and then went to sing. And for a minute, he was like, why is my voice not behaving that well? It's because you just had milk. Milk isn't bad. You can have milk, but maybe not right before you sing. But these are things that you have to learn and experience. You can't just have someone telling you, don't have milk, or don't have apples, or don't have this, or don't have that. You need to internalize these things and really take ownership of them and create a lifestyle that is good for your body and then by default, good for your voice. So I hope this has been inspirational for you in really getting to know yourself and asking some questions. Are there things that I'm doing in my life and in my vocal practices that are killing my voice and causing struggle where there doesn't need to be struggle? Leave some comments below. Let me know how these tips helped you. Be sure to check out some of my other videos and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We'll see you for more.